Joining us in studio this morning is Congressman Tim Griffin of the 2nd Congressional District, and he will take your calls if you have them at 433-0092. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning. How you doing? I can barely talk as well.
Yeah.
I had someone write into my office and say that they said some pretty positive things, and then she said, and I'm a doctor and I hear you talk a lot and you're often hoarse, so I am advising you to go to an ENT and get checked. And so that is on my list of things to do.
Or is it the allergies?
No, I think I talk so much as a politician,
That's probably it.
That's what I'm sitting here talking right now.
The stress that you must go through being in Washington. I don't know how you do it.
Well, and going back and forth, that's got to be really difficult to do.
Living on an airplane is not fun.
No,
sucking all that nasty air in. No offense to the airlines.
Well, but there's a reason people wear masks on aircraft, because you're recirculating the air.
Yeah, they ought to at least have a filter or something. I don't know.
Well, Congressman, very serious situation in the city of Conway. We had a pipeline Mayflower, and most of us didn't even realize there was a pipeline there. Did you know there was a pipeline underneath there?
Did not.
Well, and of course it bursts, and we've got a big mess up there. Your thoughts about this first?
Huge mess. First and foremost, and by the way, my staff and I have been reaching out to the different displaced residents. In fact, one of the residents I talked with 3 times yesterday personally gave out my cell phone and said if there's anything that I can do to let me know. The key is to get A, get it cleaned up, B, make sure that everything's safe. I saw today some good news, and I think it was in the log cabin that said Mayflower water is safe and the air quality is testing safe around there now. But so make sure it's safe and get people back in their neighborhoods as quickly as possible. I've heard anything that I've repeated has been coming from what they call the Unified Command. People talk a lot about Exxon this or Exxon that, but there's actually a Unified Command up there, which is Governor Beebe's people, the federal people, the local people, Alan Dodson, the county judge, and the mayor, Randy Holland, and then Exxon. So those are the 4 decision makers that compose the Unified Command, and that's where most of the information I'm seeing is coming from. But we got to get those folks back in there. And then the lasting issue for most homeowners is property value. They're really concerned.
It's a really nice neighborhood, too.
Yeah, I was up there this week, and as anyone would be, they are concerned about the long-term value or the short-term value of their home. So I was up there on Good Friday. Before I left town for Easter, I drove up and saw the oil as it was spilling over, pulled off the interstate in my truck and went across the fence and went over and talked with Alan Dodson. So I was there on Friday, and my staff has been there every day. I've been talking to the county judge, the mayor, and my staff people, and Exxon pretty much every day.
All right, we're going to hold you right there and come back to this conversation.
Okay.
KARN News Time is 8:42. We have Congressman Tim Griffin in the studio, and we'll take your calls at 433-0092. He was just explaining the command structure in Mayflower for the big spill up there, and we have Gary from Mayflower who wants to ask him a question. Gary, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Gary. I can barely let me turn this up.
Yes, sir. They're doing a great job up here, seems like to me, on their cleanup and everything. But a question I have was, are you all aware there's an ammonia line that runs through Arkansas, actually runs through Cabot?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Yes, sir.
I am not aware of that. I'm aware of it now. But
I just wondered the age of that line.
I don't know. I think that I'd say a couple things. Thank you for your comment, Gary. I would say, first of all, there's like 100,000 miles of pipeline in this country, and on different stuff. You know, some of it's crude, and some of it's natural gas, and some of it's diesel, and some of it's jet fuel. In fact, I had people come in my office this past week to meet with me. They're upset because one of the pipeline companies is going to quit using their pipeline to ship jet fuel and diesel to Central Arkansas, and so now they're going to put it in trucks. But look, we need to make sure all these pipelines are safe. I would point out that the House in I think I've got my date right here. It was right when I got up there, 2011, I think. The House passed Pipeline Safety Act to put additional requirements on pipelines, increase penalties for people who don't comply. And the Senate passed it. It's one of the few things that we got the Senate to agree to. And the President signed it. So that was a bipartisan pipeline safety bill that we passed. Obviously, we need to make sure pipelines are safe. This one was supposedly tested in 2006. We're going to find out the details on that. But, the reason a lot of these pipelines are used is because the alternative of having, let's take the ammonia, for example. The alternative of having trucks of ammonia traveling beside you at 75, 80 miles an hour on a interstate while your kids are in the car is not as safe. So nothing is perfectly safe. It is a matter of what is the safest. We got to get this cleaned up. I know that y'all are concerned about not only your community, but the folks that are displaced want to get back home. And again, I talked to one of them 3 times yesterday. I don't want them to get back home until it's safe, but I want them to get it safe ASAP. I gave my cell phone out to those folks, and happy to do that to you. If folks need something.
Well, I just called about the ammonia line, and I understand there's a lot of other lines that run through Arkansas as well, but ammonia is...
it's pretty bad stuff.
Yeah. And it runs... Well, I understand it runs right through the middle of Cabot.
Well, I'm going to mention that to Rick Crawford. That's Cabot's in his district. I'm going to mention that to him and see if he knows anything about it. I think the key is just we got to make sure this stuff's safe and make sure it's tested.
Gary, thank you for your call. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And before we get to another call, I wanted to ask you, there's apparently a lot of misinformation out there after this oil spill. It seemed to take center stage in the media, and a lot of this has to do with the proposed pipeline. And a lot of folks are looking at you and they think, okay, we've got this oil spill now here in Arkansas. Has it changed your view at all about needing the pipeline?
The Keystone Pipeline? No, it hasn't changed my view, and I would refer you. I'd say a couple things. First of all, every single member of the federal congressional delegation, Democrat and Republican, backed the Keystone Pipeline. I don't want to speak for the governor, but I think the governor does. I read today that Dustin McDaniel said that he backs the pipeline system in the country. So why are people in favor of pipelines? Not because we love pipelines. The main reason is because what's the alternative? How do you want to move this stuff? Do you want to put it? Do you want to put it in trucks running up and down the highway where you drive? Is that safer? The statistics show, even the Obama administration has said, it's not safer. What about rail? That's not safer. There's risk for all of it. None are perfectly safe, but this is the safest that we have. In fact, we looked at the numbers yesterday, and it's 5/10,000ths of 1% of the oil that goes through was spilled last year. But the other thing is, for anybody who's against the Keystone Pipeline, that's fine. Everybody can have their opinion. And I've talked about the jobs. I've talked about all the other energy independence. But the key is we're going to buy and transport oil. The question is, how do we do it? Do we buy it from countries that hate us, or do we get it from countries that are our friends? But the other thing is, it seems to me if you're going to advocate no more oil pipelines, you need to get everything plastic out of your home, because plastic is made from oil. Do you have an iPhone? Throw it in the trash, because it's made from oil. Are you still flying on airplanes? I wish I didn't fly as much as I do, but I do. Did all of us here at the radio station drive to work this morning? Yes. You know what? We all used oil. I'm all for bicycles, and absolutely, if that fits into your daily plan. I can't drive my kid to school on the back of a bicycle in an efficient way. I'm certainly not going to drive to Memphis on a bicycle. I'm a big motorcycle guy, but so I'm trying to live in reality. This is an awful deal for folks who are living through this in Mayflower, and we need to make things right for them. That includes the property values. That includes making it safe, getting them back in there, figuring out what it is that they need and making them whole. And I know one of them in particular. She worked with me at the Department of Justice. Another one just texted me this morning. He's not evacuated. His home is right on the edge of where the evacuation was. And he texts me all the time. And he texts me. I saw him when I toured the other day. He texted me about 10 minutes ago about Obama and Social Security. And he ended his message and said, and approved Keystone. This is a guy that can see the leak from his house in Mayflower. So, I mean, look, I understand the desire to have no oil, but you can't have that conversation if you want energy. They just, do we shut down Nuclear One because of what went on in Japan? We didn't. We still have Nuclear One, and it's extraordinarily safe. Is it perfectly safe? Nothing is perfectly safe. So, there are trade-offs, and we use a lot of energy in this country.
KARN News Time is 8:53. We have Congressman Tim Griffin in studio with us, and we invite you to call him at 433-0092.
We're going to go to James in Mount Ida with his call or comment or question for the Congressman. Hi, James.
Hey, James.
Hi. First of all, I couldn't agree with you more on your energy policy. That makes a lot of sense. Kind of off topic, I'm wondering where you stand on the Obamacare Medicare exchange for Arkansas.
Sure, thank you. Well, I have talked with first of all, thank you for your call. I've talked with our legislators a lot about this. Here's what I believe has to happen. I believe that we have some leverage because the Obama administration wants to get something done on this. But we in the House for 3 years straight have passed reforms in our budget to Medicaid and block grant the money, give states flexibility to make it meet the needs of their population so there is higher quality care, allow for wellness requirements and things like that so that we can reduce costs, make people live longer. There's a number of reforms that we've pushed for in the House. What I've told folks here in Arkansas is demand not temporary waivers. Demand that with other states, lock arms with other states if you want to, but demand that the administration adopt long-term substantive changes to the Medicaid program that cannot be reversed. The ones that we have been advocating for in the House that will make it a better program, provide better results, get more bang for our buck, and improve the quality of lives of the people that are on it. That's what I say do, because I don't trust this administration as far as I can throw it. So whatever is done needs to be long-term, permanent changes. And I used to go to Highway 57, 27 Fishing Village in Mount Ida growing up.
All right, and I let him go, so he would have probably responded to that.
Let's go to Luke in Little Rock with his question. Hi, Luke.
Hey, Tim. Luke McCoy here. Hope you're doing all right.
Hey, Luke.
concerning this Mayflower spill, I wonder, do they just assume that it was caused by pressure, caused by some non-human interference? I'm trying to be kind of vague, but I wonder if they ever look into maybe eco-terrorism as a cause for some of these oil spills, not just Mayflower, but around the nation. I'm interested in what you might have to say about that.
You know, I think they're so focused on the cleanup, and when I say they, it's not just Exxon, it's the Unified Command. It's the governor's people, the local folks, and the federal folks are all in this up there together. But I think they are so focused on the cleanup right now that they're obviously haven't done investigation. I asked about it. They said that they are going to. I didn't ask about that specific point, but I said, I asked about the investigation. They said they're going to have to test the metal to see, they test the stress and all that, because apparently they did a test in 2006 of the pipeline, and it passed the pressure test. Look, it's been there since 1948. My understanding is it's the first problem they've had since 1948. So I don't know, but look, we got to get answers. We're going to get answers. It's in everybody's interest to find out why this happened and make sure it never happens again.
All right, Congressman, thank you very much, and we thank you for your call as well.